What's up, Samurai? We are back. It's more Trove, and today we're going to be talking about the latest event, which is a battle of fire and ice, or fire v ice, fire versus ice, whatever. So a couple things to mention just before we get started with today's video is I don't have every item out of this event. I'm sorry, I just didn't have the time to do it. It's going to take you roughly 4 hours to get everything in total out of the event, which will go over some of them, just I don't have all of them. Another thing too is that secretly behind the scenes, as far as I've heard from you guys, we've got a double XP week, which is important because the banners that we can get out of the event will actually give you an additional 10% XP. So you do not want to miss XP day because you'll be able to use the banner, you'll be able to use the double XP potion, you'll have double XP week going on, and it just double XP day, and it's gonna be a lot of XP. You'll be able to max out your classes like that. But anyways, let's get started. So sorry that this is cropped incorrectly. I didn't get a proper screenshot of it, but we have to talk to Cries in the hub, which is going to end up being this guy as far as I recall. Right? He's one of the dudes that's around here, but I think it's this guy up here. So you just got to talk with him, and then you get, I forget what, I'm sorry. I think it's just dragon coins that you get out of this event. Next portion is to collect Rime Cress. So you'll actually get Rime Cress by defeating enemies in the frozen vaults found in the permafrost, which I'll insert some footage of what that looks like. Basically, in the permafrost biome, you'll notice on your map that there's actually 2 different colors of the permafrost biome, and one of the colors is going to end up being the event biome, which essentially, which essentially is going to end up being the same as the Feywild versus the Undead event that we had like last year, where it's just a bunch of staircases that go down into the depths. It's nothing interesting. It's probably one of the most uninspired, boring like dungeons that they've ever put in the entire game, and I'm kind of disappointed that they copy and pasted the Undead versus Fey event for this palette. Anyways, you gotta get 25 of these Rime Crest, and then you'll get 5 dragon coins. Next is to craft at the molten anvil, which again is going to end up being up here. I can't look at this crafting table right now because of a mechanic that's going on that I will explain a little bit further on. But here's going to end up being screenshots of some of the items that you can get out of the molten anvil. The only thing that you'll be able to actually craft though with the 25 coins or whatever is the banner. So you do want to get the banner just because they actually look cool on top of everything. Then it wants you to defeat frozen vault bosses. Now this is where things start getting a little bit tedious because I think I have footage of this. I'll try to include if I do. Basically, there is going to end up being boss variations inside these dungeons, and it's pretty random whether or not you'll come across a bunch of them or none of them. But anyways, you have to defeat 5 bosses. You'll know they're a boss distinctly by their health bar. At this point, you might notice that no matter how powerful you are, you're still taking a significant amount of damage, and you're still dealing garbage damage to the enemy. And that's because they're coded the same as pinatas, where you only deal 1 damage to them, regardless of regardless of how powerful you are. So you want to have a character with super high attack speed, or something that can handle groups of enemies like Tomb Raider, Draco, Boomer, even Shadow Hunter, whatever. But then the bosses and even the enemies themselves will actually deal a percentage of damage to you. So it's just based on your max health. You're still just going to take like absurd amounts of damage. Anyways, defeat 5 bosses, get 5 dragon coins. Then you got to talk to Taigma in the club, or in the hub area, which is gonna be this guy, which I don't know why the top of his jaw is gone. I've never seen that before, but okay. Yeah, I guess kill me. Anyway, talk to him. That'll end up giving you 20 Rime Crest, and then you have to collect Smoldering Marks. This is, in my opinion, the worst of them all. Not this quest, but just this part of the event. Because now you have to go into the Smoldering Vaults, which are in Dragonfire. So here's some footage of that. You can see it's pitch black. Granted, I could have brought up my brightness in the game to help with that. But generally speaking, it's still going to be very, very dark, very, very annoying. The random chests that can spawn in the molten fire biome or whatever. As far as I've seen, they spawn inside the wall, so console players, you won't even be able to see them. I could see them because I have a chest radar on PC with a mod. Okay. And then the bosses are also going to be extremely uncommon. Anyways, you get 25 of the marks, and then it wants you to craft at the frozen anvil, which is going to end up being right here. And that'll end up, this will be some of the different items that you can end up crafting out of the vault. And after you end up crafting the banner, you'll end up gaining 5 dragon coins. Then it wants you to defeat smoldering vault bosses. So again, if I have footage of this, I'm pretty sure I do, but I'm not sure. This is going to end up being one of the bosses. Again, they're very, very uncommon, it seems, like in comparison to the frozen area, or maybe it's just that I had a harder time navigating it. I don't know, but either way, you defeat 5 bosses, you'll get 5 dragon coins. Then it wants you to talk to Cubesley in the hub, which he's going to end up appearing right here in the middle of it all. And then you are supposed to choose a side. So this is the mechanic that I talked about earlier, where you essentially will only be able to do the daily quests for fire or ice. And for the rest of that day that you've selected that option, you will only be able to access one of the 2 crafting tables. It's a very weird mechanic. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird at the same time because it essentially means that it's time gated, but whatever. So anyway, when you choose a side, you get 5 dragon coins. Then it wants you to complete dailies, which is just finding chests, defeating enemies, and defeating bosses, if I recall. It's in the respective biome, of course. The quest NPCs for the smoldering guy are going to go all the way up to the top of the volcano, just if you're curious. And then the ice guy, I haven't done his dailies, but I assume they're just going to end up being over here. I don't want to do his dailies because if you side with ice, you're fighting in fire. If you side with fire, you're fighting in ice. So I keep siding with the fire guys because I just want to go into the ice biome just because it's a lot easier to manage. Anyways, complete 3 dailies, and then you'll end up getting the Throne of Ice and Fire, which is going to end up being the event mount. Sorry, I crafted a bunch of other things. Okay, so that's going to end up being this bad boy right here, which is kind of disgusting. I wish that it just committed one way or the other rather than being both of them and being this weird amalgamation. I would have liked it if we had one of each, like maybe 1 fire, 1 ice, based on doing our dailies or something, because the effects that they have on these is actually really, really cool. Even this being like ice, it kind of looks more like an energetic crystal or something. It's pretty cool. So there is going to end up being some other stuff that you can get out of the event. Namely, there is Tricries the Burnt. So this guy is an ally that gives 200 light, 5 jump, 5 movement speed, 10 max energy. Damaging enemies has a chance to blast them with fire. He's just going to end up oh, that's somebody else's ally. There's my guy right there. So he's just a little version of that guy up there. Unfortunately, as I had mentioned, I don't have the other items. So I'll just kind of go over the stats for them right here. So it's going to be a tiny version of this guy, the event NPC. And it's basically going to end up being very similar. So 200 light, 1000 max health, 5% health regen, 5 jump, and increases cooldown recovery speed by 10%. So that's again going to be him. Now the other items are going to end up being hat styles. There's 1 hat style for fire, 1 hat style for ice. You can get them with Luxian equipment style stashes. However, I don't have any of those stocked up, so unfortunately I don't have enough to actually get the style. Kind of sucks, I know, but I will show you guys the costumes. This is going to give me physical pain, so I hope you're okay with that, because they're very expensive. You can see that they are tradable, so basically the items like these as far as I know are dropped off of the bosses. Maybe it's dropped off the chests, I don't know, but you can get these as very, very rare drops, and then they're going to end up being a tradable variant. So for whatever reason, the ice costume is for the barbarian instead of the ice sage, and then the fire costume is for the ice sage instead of the Draco. It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like it was kind of a wasted opportunity with the classes they chose. My flux is slowly draining. So anyways, let's swap over to your boy Candy Barb. Oh, I didn't unlock them yet. Okay, one sec. Let me just grab that and grab that. So they're actually pretty cool costumes. I did see them on some other people. Like, I really like, again, I like the crystal style of this. Unfortunately, my character's head just doesn't really fit with it because it's so dark. But I mean, it is a really, really cool Barb costume. I like it, especially the fact that he's got a tail. You know, it's got all the right VFX and stuff, except for, you know, our #1 ability never has unique VFX for some reason with the class gem ability. And then our ultimate, which is going to end up being a gigantic icicle of death. Pretty cool. I like it. And then for the Ice Sage, it's kind of weird that we've got another Molten Ice Sage costume. That's why I'm criticizing it so much, because we already have one. So yeah, kind of weird that we've got that. But anyways, let's see. So sorry, I should have showed you guys the banner styles. There we go. So this is going to be the ice one, which again, you know, it fits with the style. And then there's going to end up being the fire one right there. And then the molten costume, which like, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I really wish that we had this costume for the Draco. It just would have made so much more sense instead of being the ice guy of all things. And it just, of course, reuses the VFX from the other fire ice sage costume, except for that thing, which is still very weird. I don't really understand it, but hey, whatever. And then do I have, yeah, I got Cubesley, so I can show you guys that the barrier is just going to end up being the fire themed barrier as well. That's about going to do it for me. I think that covers pretty much everything. Again, you know, I don't have everything out of the event. I'm waiting on Luxian so that I can get the hat styles, and then I'm going to slowly grind the ally for the ice side, which is going to be pain because I don't want to have to do the stupid fire dungeon biome thing. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. Smash like stuff for more. Buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have a wonderful day.